Hey everybody, this is Mr. Todd, and you are listening to Stories and Solutions. And I'd like to welcome Eddie, Luis, Lamont, and Vince. So, enjoy the show.
And it's not a matter of how you want to live your life. Everybody can live their life the way they want to live their life. That's not that's there's no question there. But the question is, should you be changing kids' bodies before puberty? If you're under 18, you can't have a tattoo. You can't get a tattoo done because it's something that's permanent, right? But they're putting them on blockers. That's not reversible.
No, you should be waiting till 25.
You know,
Well, this is the other thing, and you should at least wait until they're quote unquote an adult, and then they could make the decision themselves,
right?
right? Like you can't. There's, and I've used this for like I don't know how many of you guys have dated. We've probably all dated women who have messed with other women in college, or um, people who've experimented, dudes that have experimented, whatever. Um, and through that early adulthood, late adolescence, early adulthood part of your life, you are figuring stuff out, right? So if you don't even know at that point, what do you know when you're preteen or teen before you get to that point? But there has to be a certain time where you just like, I mean, if you can go to war at 18, right?
Yeah,
If you can get a
well,
tattoo at 18, the only thing that we can't do to that point, what is rent a car till you get to 25?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
no, you can go into
Yeah.
debt. You can go into debt for your country
Well,
at 18.
yeah, you go to debt, you can get
Go
a
to
student
school.
loan,
Yep.
you can do all that stuff,
Yeah.
and it's not even necessary. It's about being responsible for the young people that are under our care and not, and just being responsible, right? Because if they're not mature enough to understand that at that point, then we're supposed to protect them. When my daughter goes out, I make sure that she's not wearing her headset when she's walking down the street, right?
Yep.
I make sure that she's walking with their friends if she's walking to someplace by herself, or I mean not by herself, but somewhere. My son, he works late. I make sure he calls me before he leaves, calls me when he gets home. You know what I mean? We have to protect our kids, right? For just basic protections. I know that's like a far stretch from one to the other, but my point is, our as parents and as community members who are looking out for our next generation, our job is to protect them at all costs.
Yep.
And that's what it's about. It's not about, oh, I don't like transgender, or I don't like, LGBT. It's not about that. It's about the basics of caring and nurturing young people until they can make those decisions themselves. And
Yeah.
whatever that
25.
age is, whatever that you think is 25, I think it's 18, whatever that age is, or whatever, when they can, what do they call it when you I just not disown is not the word, but when you can
Emancipate.
leave your parents, emancipate. Like, oh, if you can emancipate your parent, if you do that, okay, do whatever
At
you want to do.
17. Yeah.
Right, whatever, you know what I mean? But to your point, Luis, like, I don't think we're arguing that, oh, you bad for doing X, Y, and Z or whatever. It's protect the kids, and then when they have the opportunity to make their own choice, to make their own choice, because that stuff is not reversible. And what if you decided, like when I started, and I said I know women who have experimented with other women, but they're not gay, right? Married with
Yeah, that's it.
three kids, whatever. It was something that they went through. That men, I don't know if men have done that, but men that have done that, and oh, you know what? I'm heterosexual. I'm not gay, or I thought I was heterosexual. Now I'm gay. Whatever. But they're adults. But they changed their mind is the key. They changed
Hmm.
their mind, and it
Well,
wasn't
yeah, if you're
permanent.
married, then by then you kind of,
But it wasn't a permanent change. It's like, that's a feeling. That's who you're attracted to. That's not changing yourself physiologically,
mm. Well,
especially when you're young.
I brought up 25 because I feel like the argument, and I kind of think I'm somewhere in the middle, but the argument is always the scientific mumbo jumbo. So then
Hmm.
I like to lead with that. Like that's what you're gonna fight me with. So here we are. And it's like, okay, well, um, you said that the brain is fully developed at 25, then you shouldn't be allowed to change your body until then.
Well, they
That's
used
right.
that was the excuse to let people stay on their parents' insurance until 25, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not fully developed until 25. So it's 25 when it's convenient for what they want done, but it's 5 years old when it's convenient for whatever else they want done. And it's and I'm talking about just protecting the kids. I mean, the kids, they change their mind, they're confused, they're not, if a mother, and we've seen the videos of mothers saying, "Oh, you like dresses better than pants, right, son?" Like bright daughter when he's a son,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they go home to the dad, and they're perfectly fine little boys with the dad, and I'm not saying it happens. That's the it's all the time, but it's okay. Listen, people can live any way they want, but let's refrain from making irreversible changes before they can make the choice for themselves legally. Like they're the ones that, "Oh, I'm 18 or 20 or 25 or whatever the number happens to be. And in the meantime, dress the way you want to dress. If you love pink, use pink. I don't care. It
If you want to wear a
it's
dress, wear a dress. If
wear
you
a
want to
dress. I mean,
tuck your
But you,
tool in and wear a bra, tuck your tool in
but
and
you,
wear a bra.
but you
yeah,
can't
it's
go in. You can't go into the boys' bathroom or a
No,
girl's bathroom because you're wearing a
no,
dress.
no.
Because then you're
that's
not
another that's
protecting the
another
kid.
that's another thing that it's about protecting women, girls and women in their spaces, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So because, like it or not, even before puberty, most males that are born male are stronger than females that are born female, right?
True.
So a male can always 99
Overpower.
times
Yeah.
out of 100, it's going to be able to overpower a female. And do you not want to protect your daughter? Of
Yeah.
course you want to protect your daughter. So it's not a matter of being against the boy living the way he wants to live, or as a girl, whatever he wants to
Yeah.
do.
There's
But you
rules.
need to protect your daughter that was born female, right? So and that's the thing, and that's a conversation that people don't even want to have. They just say, "Oh, if you don't accept it 100%, then you're a bigot."
Hmm.
But I don't, like, we don't hate anybody.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's just kind of like look at the whole picture, not
We
just
live in LA. We grew
your
up in LA.
slice.
I know I
Yeah.
grew up in LA. Like I haven't known a million gay people. I'm friends with everything under the sun, and people that know me know I love everybody, unless you're a jerk, And once you prove to me you're a jerk, I don't care what your
Yeah.
persuasion
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You're out of my life. But
Yeah.
like if you're a hetero and a jerk, I'm still gonna
Yeah.
kick you
Not
to
gonna
the
talk
curb,
to you. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Hey,
But
Lamont, you quiet.
Man, I'm just listening, man. It's a everybody has had like really good points. It's a lot to impact. For one, man, I believe as a society and just in the black community, we're really, really lazy thinkers. So even if the information is out there, we're not going to go and really watch uh, maybe a 10-minute video or interview. We'll just take the YouTube short or the Instagram post, and then we'll come up with our own judgment,
Mm.
and then that's what we go with. So we really live off of just bits and
Yeah.
pieces of information, and that's everybody. Uh, I believe that uh, it's beyond. This is, in my opinion, this is truly a spiritual warfare
Yeah.
because it's so heavy and it's so intentional and it's so aggressive that every day it's something that keeps everybody on edge.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's constant, like you can't even turn it off. You know what I mean? Like you can wake up in the morning and as soon as if you go on your social media, the Instagram or whatever, you're already hit with all these hatred comments towards Charlie Kirk. And it's like constant on and on and on over and over.
Uh,
And technology itself doesn't really give us a reason to now go and do that further search for true information, because now AI and just whatever before, we don't need to. You know what I mean? So it's almost like it's 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 biting us in the ass now. You know, the other thing is like I can't remember who made the point, but like these people are getting fired from their jobs, right? I truly believe that if it was another administration, none of these people would get fired. They would just keep going because the media is going to be dictated from that, which it is
That's
now.
my issue.
You know what I mean? So it's just like if everybody hates this one man so much that it dominates over common sense and logic. They have created a world full of emotion. That's just what it is. So we only learn through emotion. We were talking about the text messages and everything, and no one can communicate. I work in a high school, man, and these kids, 9 times out of 10, bro, when they're walking to campus, they're on their phone. When they're walking to class, they're on their phone.
Yeah.
When they
When
could be
in
standing, yeah, you know, when they're walking with each other, all of them are on the phone.
Yeah,
Like,
and
who
they
are you
don't talk to
talking
each
to?
other. Yeah,
No, you can't.
They're on the phone.
And
Yeah.
so you see that, but that influence is gonna continue to cycle through. It's just a bad cycle, man. When Luis was talking about protecting our kids, it's important. It's detrimental, but I believe because influence starts in the womb. But I believe that when women are pregnant, all the prenatal shots and vitamins, it's not the same. It's not the same. So if you can get the woman to already adjust her body and everything when she's pregnant, and you getting her to believe, especially poor people, when you get them to believe like, oh, I gotta go get my shots, I gotta go to.
Yeah.
We're not even thinking about the shit that we getting a shot for.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like think about it. Like that COVID shit really, 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 really affected people because it took people's courage and mindset to remember, why can't we just think? If it doesn't make sense, then why do it? Like, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to like Kamala Harris, or it's okay to like Donald Trump. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I believe that it's so evil, man, that, you know, you have to stay prayed up, and you have to do everything the opposite. If you have kids and young kids, you have to do everything the opposite. You have to, like, you know, yeah, you got to call me when you get to work. Call me when you get off. You got to communicate. You got to force that. What we're seeing that people don't do. You got to force that. And it's okay to, I believe, like, when we're like, you guys were talking about like wearing pink in the clothes. If I got a son, just because I say, no, man, you're not wearing a damn dress. I'm not against gay people or trans, like, but in my house, what I believe in, you know what I mean? How I want to raise my family, it's okay. No, you can't wear a dress. We're not doing that shit.
Yeah,
and that's
Yeah,
okay.
and that's your
Yeah,
your
man.
house. So you
Like,
get to do
that's
whatever you want to do.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's what it is.
It's your house. It's your house, and it's your belief system. You know, so and the whole thing is they say Christians are the ones that want to impose our belief systems on everybody else, but actually Christians nowadays are more accepting of everybody else because we've been pounded for the last 40 years about how, you know, well, you're hypocrites because you're not perfect. And you notice that's how they treat us. It's like, well, you go to church, but then you cuss, or you go to church and you came home, you came to work late, or you go to church, but you're not married.
That's to me, when people say that now, especially against Christians and people that say that again, you know, that they don't believe in God or believe in Jesus. I feel like that's such a cliche piece of bullshit. Like, that's easy to throw out there now. Oh, you want to be perfect. Look, man, you already know whether you believe in God or not. You know in your mind what's right and what's wrong. You make that choice. God has never, ever made us do anything.
Free choice, that free will.
He gave us that. He gave us that. He also gave us a blueprint, the Bible. That's what it is. He gave you a choice. You can either believe it or you don't. But if you whatever it is, see what people do is they try to manipulate what you believe in with how they want to live their life. You know
We were
what I
talking
mean?
with we were talking with Eddie the other day
Yeah.
about how people start questioning God right about the time they start puberty, because they got all these feelings that they want to act upon, but the Bible tells them they shouldn't. So now they're going, well, maybe I don't believe that because now I can go play around and do what I want to do. It's a self-serving questioning, but you know you're wrong. You know you're wrong. Even though a lot of us go down that path of dating way too young and doing things
But
way too
it
young.
feels so right.
Oh,
So
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we've all used
yeah,
we've all used
Feels
that
so
line.
right.
yeah.
But you gotta
Yeah.
also look at it like this. When you say like, oh, somebody also bend the truth, right?
Mhm.
Then there's gonna be the naysayers that are gonna say, well, who wrote the Bible? Those people could have heard whatever it was, and they're like, oh wait, I
But
did that.
that doesn't stick anymore. You know why? Because now with the whole the influx of Islam,
Uh-huh.
who wrote the Quran? So you can go, man, and I don't this is just I'm so like fed up with that when they try to say that. I go, well, who wrote the Quran? A man. Who wrote the thoughts and ideas of Buddhism? A man. So
Right. I'm
it all comes from a man,
right. I'm
right?
just saying in the sense of their argument is going
They're
to be,
vessels, yeah.
yeah, it's going to be, well, if they know that they are one of, the issue that's being written down, like, they're telling them to write this. And then all of a sudden it's, oh wait, I do that. I'm saying that's no different than
All the vessels are the same.
So
exactly.
That's what you're
So
saying, right?
to me, it's a matter of if we all came from sin, and like the way I think is this: I don't like religion, but I believe in God. I'm not a scientist, but I teach science, right? Because to me, God made everything and made science. Like that's
well, you
just that
did.
that's
Yeah.
that simple, right? So then you would have had to made the devil too. So then for there, from what I've learned, like hell on earth type of thing, which is why you're forgiven because you're here until you're allowed to rise up beyond this dome, right?
So if you truly believe in God, right? And this is, I mean, this is not something that I'm just making up. It's readings that have done religious readings, and it's accepted. If you truly believe in God, then you realize that you're an imperfect person
Exactly.
because you have free will and
So then no
you
one should
make your own
judge.
choices, right? So we are all sinners in the eyes of God. And that's why he sent his only begotten son to die for our sins, so that through his shedding of blood, we can be cleansed from our sins as long as we accept him into our hearts. And it's not just saying, oh, I'm sorry. No, it's
They're doing it.
actually really believing that you were wrong. And just because we are imperfect and we are sinners, whatever our sin happens to be, greed, gluttony, whatever it happens to be, right? One sinner is not any better or any worse than another sinner in the eyes of the Lord. So
Exactly.
we're all sinners.
So
So
then we shouldn't judge.
well, again, society's it's a whole different story about society, but it's a matter of where, I'm not any better because I think, because I believe in God, and I'm out doing good work than somebody who doesn't do any good work outside the home, but they're taking care of their family, right? But in everybody sins. So, but the idea that we're hypocrites because we're not perfect, when human beings are incapable of being perfect, that's being incredibly unfair to Christians. Because you say, well, you're not perfect. You believe in God, but you're not perfect. Well, nobody's perfect.
No one is.
No one is. The only perfect man was Jesus. And another thing too about the books. So you have the five gospels, they all tell the story of Jesus Christ, and they don't really differ on what happened. So five different people wrote them, and then other religions, like there's Jesus is mentioned in the Quran.
Hmm.
There's Buddhist writings that mention Jesus Christ. There's
But
Chinese writings that mention Jesus Christ. There's Roman
but that doesn't
historical records that mention Jesus of Nazareth in the right year. What
right.
year are we? What year are we? 2025, the year of our Lord, 2025. That we count our time based on when Jesus was born. So there's a lot of historical and everything they come up with, that all the digs, archaeological digs and stuff like that. They keep finding things that were written about in the Bible. Nothing that they found disproves the Bible. Everything they're finding is proving that the Bible was correct as a historical record.
Hmm.
So, and then you can think, well, then can you believe anything that was ever written before? All the histories, everything's wrong.
No, because I look at like hieroglyphics. People didn't know how to write, you know,
Right.
but
Well,
they still communicated.
well, Lamont was trying to say something. What are you trying to say, Lamont?
No, I was saying when he was talking about Jesus,
On the different books.
a lot of religions would now, talk about Jesus, but they don't talk about Jesus in the right manner, in the right light.
Mm.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like I remember growing up, I'm 52, so all of us grew up in the hip hop
The
era
same, yeah.
and in the time where Public Enemy and Ice Cube, the old Ice Cube, was
Yeah.
really hot. The other biggest influence in the community was the Nation of Islam. There was a
Mm.
That's right.
time when Farrakhan would not mention Jesus Christ at
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
Within the last, not maybe 10 years, now he's starting to talk about Jesus Christ. Muslims will tell you that they believe in Jesus Christ, but they believe in Jesus Christ as a prophet. It doesn't matter, and this is not a knock against anyone, but when we as Christians and believers, we got to understand, first of all, Christianity is not a religion. Christianity is a relationship with God and knowing that he sent his son here to save us, right? Through crucifixion. That's what that is. So we have to really make sure that when we uh, talk about it or share it, that we're really on point.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that, to me, I think that's important. It goes back to what our whole topic is. You know what I mean? We see now that the absence of God more and more and more, right? And the world is in chaos. I don't care what you say. You can say, well, it is what it is. It ain't that bad. That's because that's a reflection on your moral character. I'm not here to judge. And it's not judging if we say we don't like something. We just made a choice.
Yeah.
So whether I'm a Christian or not, I just made a choice. So whatever my choice is, and you say that I'm judging, then really all that is your insecurity. You're not sure. That's why a lot of Christians now, we have to make sure that we remain strong in our faith and in our belief, is because not only in the Bible does it tells us we're in those times where people are going to mock us and kill us and whatever. Like, we got to just be on our game. It's just like, whatever it is, that whatever your career is, if someone comes in and says, Ed, I know how to do this. You don't know how to do this. And Ed is like, dude, I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. So it's always somebody going to come in and try to intimidate you and say you don't know this, whatever. But if you're sure with it, then that's all that that's all that matters. And that's the same way now with our what we're talking about, all the hatred towards Charlie Kirk and what we're seeing. Like, it's that video of that girl getting killed on that train. That crime, I think they said, happened on August 22nd. They just started showing it.
I haven't seen it.
You see what I'm
Because the
saying?
government, the city people wanted to keep it from coming out.
Yes.
Whatever,
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know
I
if
know
this
where you're
is.
going, Lamont. Let him cook.
What-
Let him cook.
So
Let him
my
cook.
point is, the media the media chooses this. This is the device that the left, I hate to say it, but the left has controlled for so long. This is what this is. How is it that you're going to have a crime that happened on August 22nd? They show it. It's already the second going into the third week of September. And then the couple days later, then there's this assassination of Charlie Kirk. You can't tell me this is not set up, man. You know what I mean? You can't look at what the Charlie Kirk supporters are doing and now compared to the George Floyd. Your people
See,
going.
I don't know what you're talking about with the train.
Well, I thought where you were
So
going with this, Lamont, was that they didn't show that video until almost the second week of, right? But I was scrolling through Twitter when I was sitting with Luis,
mhm.
and I was scrolling through Twitter just when he told me, he's like, they shot Charlie Kirk. And I accidentally saw a video of him being shot within the hour, right? Graphic that him being shot. And I was not looking for it. So
Yeah.
I thought where you were going was they get out what they want to get out.
Yes, I am. Yeah, that's the whole point. They
Yeah.
put that they put that to cause this. This is we rack our minds and brains trying to figure out the alternative to reality, and there's not. We see what we see. That's just what it is. But we're so scared to speak on it. You know what I mean? We're scared, like Ed said. I think Ed said it earlier. We're scared to have certain conversations. So when you're scared to have a conversation, then you open up that whole sea of assumption. That's where there's a conflict. I assume this. Well, I didn't say that. Well, that's what you said in your text. That text shit is dangerous.
It is.
That shit is dangerous because you could type something and now you'll see another word that comes up before you eat. It's almost like they're
autocorrect.
They're trying to complete your sentence. And it's like, well, wait a minute, hold up. Shit, I didn't say that. I don't want to say that. That's how dangerous technology is. You know.
Is this thing you're talking about the Charlotte train stabbing?
Yeah, the Ukrainian girl got killed for no reason.
Yeah. I don't understand how there's any way to take off the seriousness of what this brother did. Now, was he black? Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to give him a pass because he's black. He did something that was horrific, and there was no reason. You know what I'm saying? So you see that other side making that assumption, like, oh, well, you know, we shouldn't have to worry about that. You know, just like if that dude was white and that woman was black, or a woman of color, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, whatever, Asian, all hell will be breaking loose. They would be tearing up every city right now, especially Charlotte. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, my opinion, for my community, I think black people are the biggest hypocrites now. And that along with just lazy thinking.
I think they're desensitized.
I don't think it's desensitized, man. For me personally, when I hear people at school talk and I see teachers and I see kids, I think the biggest problem now with people is people are so arrogant with their ignorance that it's like it's through the roof. It's like zero tolerance, you know, zero tolerance. And one of the kids I'm working with is he's taking American history. Okay. So the lady has her whole room decorated with all this American stuff, all these different presidents, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So it was intriguing to me. And I was like, man, she has no picture of Donald Trump. Okay. So, but I only say this because that and the way she's teaching, it incites that discourse, that negative, that hatred, she's asking kids questions, and you can tell that our kids are already wired to hate this guy. Like it's like, so our free thinking is gone. from the
Yeah.
people who claim that Trump is taking it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're like low key, passive aggressively. Our kids are being bullied to think this one way.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
I'll say this though, because I'm always trying to find the, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I think that it's true, except I think this. If you look at how we keep saying, if we look at one side, you have to look at the other side. The other side is when we um come election time, they spend oodles of money and time of throwing it in your face. Even if you watch YouTube, unless you get the paid version, that every commercial, regardless of the side you're on, you're inundated with information. Then you're going to be inundated with the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially now you have smart TVs or your phone, it's going to come up. So even if that person doesn't want to have anything to do with it, it's forced on them, which to me, it could be broccoli. I'm going to be like, get away from me over a certain amount of time, right? So you, as far as like the younger you go, you are going to listen to the influence in your house. You're going to listen to the influence of your friends. And
Right.
we don't um take the time to, there's very few people that go against the grain and think for themselves. There's very few people because most people are afraid of being rejected by of their opinion, you know. So you, even if you don't agree with someone, most of the time you just kind of smile because you don't want to be the disruptor. But then you already know once you walk away from that situation, you're not a part of that clique. And that stuff's coming at you all the time. So it's kind of like, to me, it's forced on you. And then when you decide, well, yeah, it's up to you to look at both sides, but that's what's wrong. Everybody with this whole thing, it's always a side. And to me, the side should be in the middle. That's just called right. It shouldn't be like, well, this
Well,
person said this, and that made this person do this because I said this. I don't know Charlie Kirk, but I do know this. The one thing that did irritate me, I heard him say, and I found the speech. I was watching him with that goofy redhead kid. I think he was in Harvard or somewhere, and he debated with people, and he was debating with professors and a student, and the student actually had good points, but I don't care. Like in the big picture, it's you have a right to your opinion, and that's that. I don't have to agree with him, right? But when they were showing this thing about the uh, empathy, sympathy, well, I'm big on him on the fact that I think you should care. That's what's wrong with people. And so when I heard that, I didn't hate the dude. He's not something I want to hear. It,
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate with you.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So when you say we have to care, right? So so if you if your son said, Dad, I want to drink 8 bottles of Coke before dinner, you like, nah, that's not gonna happen,
Right, because I
right?
care.
Because you care. So you have to make the correction. See, we've become gun shy for correcting, and that's what's wrong. So I get where you coming from, where like you have to be you want something in the middle or whatever, but I believe like at this point it has things have to have an absolute, a
Yeah,
hard no,
just the right way is what I'm saying.
but
It's
right?
the
pushing
way
it.
you do that is with knowledge, though.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You
So
say
so you
knowledge, I
can't
say truth. Same thing though, right?
Well, I mean, if you're
not
engaged in a civil debate or conversation where one
right.
person comes from one side and the other person comes on some side, and you're like, for example, we'll use the border, for example. Um, one side is well, yeah, we you let all these people in and da 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 da, and they're like, well, no, I didn't. But then Trump policy comes in, shuts down, supports the agents, and all of a sudden we have zero, right? So there's really no debating that one thing worked and the other one was fluff, right? That's uncontrovertible. How do you say that word?
Uncontrovertible.
Uncontrovertible, right? But that would be an example of where somebody would just all of a sudden it would change from, well, yeah, you give the resources, you do what you got to do, right? We start
Right.
checking people at the border, what have you. We're talking about this. The line will move to, oh, well, now you're racist because you want all these people out, or you want to do X, Y, and Z, and da da da. It's like, no, we're
Exactly.
talking about this. This policy worked. The border is now secure, right?
Right.
The administration did a good job here. You can say that the administration did a good job without loving the dude,
Yeah.
right? So
Just call
I
it
think
for what it
also,
is.
yeah, call it for what it is.
Yeah.
But that happens with knowledge and truth. And
That's what I said.
what
Truth.
the issue that we're having right now is even in the good, you're so you're so disdained with the person that you can't even see the truth. Give someone kudos. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, yeah, you're not even kudos. Like, okay, that happened. Great. I still don't agree with all the noise that's going on in the administration. Like, I hate all the noise, right? Some of the policy works, blah, 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 or what, whatever. But this, yeah, great. The border's more secure, kids are safer, the farmers on the border are good, whatever you have, you want to do it. Okay, great. Right.
Right.
But we can't even agree on like that simple stuff without moving the goalposts. But like I said, you can't have that discussion with someone who's completely on the other side without having facts or having the knowledge to be like, okay, well, yeah, this was the numbers over here, this was over here, and it's unfortunate that we have to argue one side or the other. You have to be so Trump tight with your information,
Yeah.
right? That you can't just like have a civil discord about it. You have to be like, get it to the point where it's like, and then to where it's just like matter of fact, and then they're like, well, that doesn't matter because of this,
Yeah,
right?
It's
So,
Right.
to debate, both sides have to be honest about what they're going to
There you
do.
go.
And, they have to agree that this is what we're going to debate on, and one side has to lose. And the losing side is the one that's keep moving the goalpost
mhm.
because they have to win at all costs. And this is where we are now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Stories and Solutions. I'm Mr. Todd. Have a good week.